Hey, this is Nick Sanger, the author and editor of Literary Compass, the blog for great books, Catholic literature, education, and other assorted topics as they cross my mind. I am an 8th grade teacher in Spokane, Washington, and what I'm hoping to do with these videos is give you a little encouragement and insight into some of the books that I'm reading and that I think other people would enjoy reading. And I'm just doing these off the cuff, not much preparation, no editing. What you see is what you get. And I have no background in video editing, speaking, so we'll see how this goes. The book I'm going to talk to you today about is called How to Think About the Great Ideas. It's the book I'm currently reading. I'm about halfway through it, and I wanted to start with this book just because I had to start somewhere, and I'm really enjoying this book. So let me tell you a little bit about it. First, let me show you the cover. The author is Mortimer Adler. He's one of my personal heroes, one of my literary heroes. He passed away a few years ago, and it seems like I always get really excited about these authors too late. Another of my favorite authors is Patrick O'Brian, and he passed away just a few years ago too. But Mortimer Adler, as some of you may know, was an employee for Encyclopedia Britannica, for the Britannica Corporation. He helped to edit the greatest books of Western civilization, a 54-volume series of works by people such as Homer, Shakespeare, Melville, Dickens, people that we often consider as the greatest writers that we've seen in our Western culture. Of course, there's a lot of debate about that, and Mortimer Adler was right in the midst of that debate. Well, one of the things he did with that series was put together what he called the Syntopicon, which is a 2-volume set of, basically it's an index, a 2-volume index to the entire set, and organized around what he called the 102 Great Ideas. He took what he thought were the great ideas of civilization, ideas such as love, freedom, art, education, and his team, his editorial team, then went through all of the volumes of the great books of Western civilization and indexed those by the great ideas. So that, for instance, you could look up love and see what Thomas Aquinas has to say about love versus what Freud has to say about love versus what Augustine has to say about love, and you could really get a feel for what the great thinkers of the world had to say about these great ideas. Well, in the 1950s, he actually had a television show where each week he would come out and speak about one of these great ideas. And sometimes it took him several weeks to exhaust what he wanted to say about one particular idea. For instance, he would begin speaking maybe about education. And one week he would talk about teaching, and the next week he would talk about lifelong learning, and the next week he would talk about how reading can help someone's education. Well, this television series faded. I'm not really sure how long it was on, but it died out, and the transcripts and the videos remained, in someone's, I suppose, in a storeroom somewhere, until a gentleman by the name of Max Wiseman was put these together. I'm not sure if he was asked or if he's the one who brought this project forward, but he ended up becoming the editor of the transcripts for this television show. And so what we have with this book here, How to Think About the Great Ideas, is an edited version of those transcripts. So these are, in a sense, the television shows that Mortimer Adler participated in, along with another gentleman, Lloyd Luckman. So Lloyd Luckman would come on, and he acted as someone that Mortimer Adler could interact with. He'd help read the viewer mail, pose questions to Dr. Adler, and he did other assorted things behind the scenes to help the show come about. So this book really is a nice collection of what Dr. Adler had to say about some of these great ideas. It's a nice introduction to philosophy. It's a nice introduction to critical thinking, and it does without infringing on your freedom to think about these ideas in your own way. he does give you a good starting point for how to think about these great ideas. So I encourage you, if you're in the bookstore browsing around, look. I think you'll find it in the philosophy section under Mortimer Adler's last name, under Adler, and give it a shot. You can go to Amazon.com. There's a link on my blog, and I believe that while you're there, you can look at the first few pages. Let me just give you a little taste of his writing. This is from the first chapter, How to Think About Truth. And Mortimer Adler says, "Today we're going to consider the great idea of truth. As beauty is connected in our minds with art, as goodness is connected in our minds with the character of men and their actions, so truth is connected with the pursuit of knowledge, with all of the attempts that men make to know, in science, in philosophy, in religion. All earnest and serious efforts at inquiry comprise the pursuit of truth. I'm sure you've heard people say, 'I would like to know the truth about that.' I wonder if you stop to think about how redundant that expression is, to know the truth, because the very meaning of the phrase 'to know' is to have in one's mind the truth about the object one is trying to know. It is perfectly obvious, is it not, that false knowledge is impossible. It wouldn't be knowledge if it were false, and true knowledge is redundant. To know is to have the truth, and those who doubt man's ability to know anything are skeptical, therefore, of his ability to possess the truth about anything." So there you have just a little bit of taste of this book. I hope you find it enough to tantalize you into possibly reading it yourself. So that's all for now, and I really appreciate you watching this, and I hope to see you again. Thanks.